Hello everyone, and welcome to this special episode of Marin English Lab. Today we're bringing you a realistic mock IELTS speaking test on the topic of environment. I'm your host and examiner today, Liam Bennett, and joining me is Olivia Smith.
Hi everyone. We hope this full mock test, together with detailed feedback, will help you prepare effectively and improve your speaking skills. Let's begin.
Now, this is the IELTS speaking test. My name is Liam Bennett. Could you tell me your full name, please?
My full name is Olivia Smith.
Thank you. And what shall I call you?
You can call me Olivia.
Thank you, Olivia. Do you have an ID or candidate number?
Yes, my candidate number is A47892.
Thank you. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself and your daily life. Let's start with the weather. How would you describe the weather where you live?
Well, the weather where I live is quite varied throughout the year. In summer, it tends to be warm and sunny, which I really enjoy because it lifts my spirits. However, winters can be rather chilly and damp, sometimes with quite a lot of rainfall. Overall, I think the changing seasons make life more interesting.
Do you prefer hot or cold weather?
I'd say I lean towards warmer weather. There's something energizing about bright sunny days that makes me feel more productive and motivated. That said, I do appreciate a crisp winter morning every now and then.
Has the weather changed much in recent years?
Yes, I believe it has. We seem to be experiencing more extreme weather events, such as unusually heavy downpours or unexpected heat waves. This shift is quite noticeable compared to when I was younger.
Now, let's move on to the topic of the environment. How important do you think it is to protect the environment?
I think it's absolutely crucial. After all, our planet is the only home we have, and the health of the environment directly affects our quality of life, from the air we breathe to the food we eat. Neglecting it could lead to irreversible consequences for future generations.
What do you do in your daily life to help the environment?
On a personal level, I try to reduce my carbon footprint by walking or cycling instead of driving short distances. I also make a conscious effort to avoid single-use plastics and opt for reusable bags and bottles whenever possible. Small actions like these can add up when many people do them.
Do you think young people are more aware of environmental issues than older generations?
In many ways, yes. Younger people have grown up with constant discussions about climate change and sustainability, so they tend to be more proactive. However, awareness doesn't always translate into action, which is where the real challenge lies.
Let's talk about recycling now. Do you recycle much in your daily life?
Yes, I do try to recycle as much as possible. I separate paper, plastics, and glass, and I'm always surprised at how much waste can actually be diverted from landfill sites through proper recycling. It's become a habit that I feel good about.
What difficulties do people sometimes face when trying to recycle?
One common issue is the lack of clear information or convenient facilities. In some places, the rules for what can and cannot be recycled are quite confusing, which can discourage people from making the effort. Another challenge is the extra time it takes, especially for busy households.
Thank you. That is the end of part 1. Now, I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you begin, you have 1 minute to make some notes. Here is your topic. Describe an environmental problem. You should say what the problem is, where it occurs, what causes it, and explain how it affects people or the planet. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right. You have 1 minute to prepare. Now, remember you have 1 to 2 minutes. Don't worry if I stop you. Would you like to start?
One of the most pressing environmental problems today is plastic pollution in our oceans. This issue is widespread, affecting coastlines and marine ecosystems across the globe. The main cause is our heavy reliance on single-use plastics combined with inadequate waste management systems. Every year, millions of tons of plastic waste find their way into rivers and eventually the sea, where it breaks down into microplastics. The effects are truly alarming. Marine life suffers enormously. Sea turtles mistake plastic bags for jellyfish, and seabirds ingest tiny particles, often leading to starvation or toxicity. On a broader scale, this pollution disrupts entire food chains and threatens biodiversity. Personally, I feel a deep sense of sadness and urgency whenever I see images of polluted beaches. It makes me realize how interconnected we all are with the natural world. To tackle this, I believe we need stricter regulations on plastic production and greater investment in recycling infrastructure, alongside public education campaigns to shift consumer behavior. Only through collective effort can we hope to turn the tide on this crisis.
Thank you. Would you say this problem is getting better or worse?
Unfortunately, I think it's still getting worse in many regions, despite growing awareness. However, some countries are making encouraging progress with bans on single-use plastics.
Thank you. Now, that is the end of part 2. Let's move on to part 3. We've been talking about an environmental problem, and I'd like to discuss some more general questions related to this topic. First, what do you think are the main causes of pollution?
Well, pollution stems from a variety of human activities. Industrial emissions and the burning of fossil fuels are major contributors to air pollution, while improper disposal of waste leads to both land and water contamination. Rapid urbanization and increasing consumption also play significant roles, as they generate more waste and demand for resources. Ultimately, it's our modern lifestyle that needs rethinking if we want to reduce pollution effectively.
Do you believe individuals can really make a difference in protecting the environment?
Absolutely, although individual actions alone aren't enough. When people adopt sustainable habits, like reducing, reusing, and recycling, they create a ripple effect. Moreover, informed citizens can pressure governments and companies to adopt greener policies. That said, real change requires both grassroots efforts and large-scale systemic solutions working hand in hand.
Finally, what should governments do to address environmental issues?
Governments have a pivotal role to play. They should implement stricter environmental regulations, offer incentives for renewable energy, and invest in public transport to cut down on emissions. International cooperation is also essential, as many problems like climate change transcend national borders. By prioritizing long-term sustainability over short-term economic gains, governments can lead the way towards a healthier planet.
Thank you very much, Olivia. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you, Liam. That felt quite realistic. Now, shall we move on to the analysis and feedback?
Absolutely. First of all, congratulations, Olivia. Your performance was at a solid band 8 to 8.5 level. Your fluency was excellent. Ideas were well organized and coherent. You showed a wide range of vocabulary and grammatical structures, and your pronunciation was clear and natural. Well done.
Thank you. Let's now look at some of the best language I used during the test so learners can benefit from it. Here are 8 useful expressions. Reduce my carbon footprint. This common collocation means lowering the greenhouse gases you produce. It's very effective because it shows precise topic-specific vocabulary. Single-use plastics, a key phrase in environmental discussions that demonstrates current global awareness. Irreversible consequences, an advanced expression indicating damage that cannot be undone. It adds sophistication and depth. Disrupts entire food chains, a strong collocation showing good understanding of ecological systems. Turn the tide on this crisis, an idiomatic expression meaning to reverse a negative situation. It makes your language more engaging. A ripple effect, excellent idiom illustrating how small actions can lead to larger changes. Prioritizing long-term sustainability over short-term economic gains, this complex structure showcases excellent grammatical range and balanced thinking. Transcend national borders, a precise, formal phrase perfect for Part 3 discussions on global issues.
Excellent choices. You could also say lower my environmental impact instead of reduce my carbon footprint or stem the tide of plastic pollution as an alternative to turn the tide.
To practice, I recommend recording yourself using at least 2 or 3 of these phrases in new answers. Focus on natural intonation and try to use them fluently. The more you integrate advanced language like this, the higher your band score can become.
And that wraps up today's episode. We hope you've learned valuable ideas, vocabulary, and exam techniques from this realistic mock test and the detailed feedback.
Remember, consistent practice is the key to success in IELTS speaking. Try answering these questions yourself and record your responses to track your progress. Thank you for watching Marin English Lab. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, and join us again next time for more high-quality IELTS preparation.
Until then, keep practicing, and let's all do our part to protect our beautiful planet. See you soon, everyone. Bye for now.